What is happening at JGame Dude here, and let's talk business, which is something that I don't usually talk too much about. But the US agency, specifically the FTC, they want to make it easier for consumers to cancel unwanted subscriptions. And this is very much going to tie in, or I'm going to try and tie it into gaming as much as I humanly can, as I look at this article from the Associated Press. Now, before I get into the details about subscriptions, the FTC, and the gaming industry as a whole, just wanted to say, hey, if you like my video, please like the video, subscribe to the channel, because at the moment my videos are only getting recommended to subscribers. So hey, if you could share my videos on other places that you visit, like say for example Discord or Facebook, or I don't know how many people still use Facebook, Twitter, or whatever have you. Like, hey, anywhere where you want to share my stuff around, feel free to, because it seems like my channel is in a rut at the moment and it's going to be difficult to get out of without some support. So we'll just kind of have to see how things go. But with all that being said, let's jump back into this AP article that I have right here. So, the FTC adopted a final rule on Wednesday that will require businesses to make it easy for consumers to cancel unwanted subscriptions and memberships. Click to cancel rule will prohibit retailers and other businesses from misleading people about subscriptions and require them to obtain consumers' consent before charging for memberships, auto renewals, and programs linked to free trial offers. And that's the easiest way to fleece people in, and that's kind of how something like Game Pass actually started, where they'd get you in for $1 on a single month, and then after that charge you the normal price of, I think it was $10 a month back in the day, for Game Pass. And I think like Game Pass Ultimate was like, I think $12 or $13, something like that. I'm sure it wasn't $15 by then, but maybe it was, and I'm just kind of misremembering. But that's kind of when Game Pass launched. Now, of course, I'm pretty sure there's a lot of people who forget to cancel subscriptions. And in fact, there are a hell of a lot of subscriptions in the gaming space when you think about it. From Game Pass to PlayStation Plus to Ubisoft's subscription to EA Play to... Jesus Christ, there's actually a lot of like cloud ones as well. A lot that you've probably never even heard of. So to fleece people in with like a quick and easy trial period, but then begin to charge you afterwards, and then making it very difficult to cancel. I mean, I feel like we can all, well, at least I can talk about when I tried to cancel a gym membership and the guy was just hounding me constantly, being like, are you sure you want to cancel? Are you sure? Are you sure? Are you sure? So this is certainly going to be an interesting thing, but in saying that, I'm pretty sure this is going to affect the US more than, outside countries. But obviously a lot of these companies like EA, Microsoft, and Sony are working within the confines of the US borders. So I think it's probably fair to say that, hey, this is probably going to affect them quite heavily as well. Ubisoft, maybe not so much, but the fact of the matter is consumers, a large chunk of consumers are still within the United States. So that's also a thing to be concerned about as well for them. The FTC says businesses must also disclose when free trials and other promotion offers will end, and let customers end recurring subscriptions as easily as they started them. So obviously not, barring people from being able to cancel in a really ridiculous way. Like you join via an app, but then you have to go into the office to then speak to someone after making an appointment, and then paying some money to even be able to attend said appointment, for example. They can't go out of their way. If you can join by an app, you can't cancel via the app. That's kind of the idea that they're going with. Most of the provisions take effect 180 days after the rule is published in the Federal Register. The agency said so, at least 6 months later. So it's really just like, time is ticking for companies at the moment. So they have only a limited amount of time to actually be able to fleece as many people as they can before actually trying to then course correct to what it should be like. Too often businesses make people jump through endless hoops just to cancel a subscription, FTC Chair Lena Khan said in a statement. The FTC's rule will end these tricks and traps, saving Americans time and money. Nobody should be stuck paying for a service they no longer want. The Biden administration included the FTC's proposal as part of its Time is Money initiative, a government-wide initiative that was announced in August with the aim of cracking down on consumer-related hassles. The initiative featured new regulations and promise of more for industry spanning healthcare and fitness memberships to media subscriptions, which is what I'm primarily talking about here. The U.S. Chamber of Commerce criticized the administration's approach, saying in August that heavy-handed regulation that micromanage business practices will lead to high costs for consumers. Wait, what? How would regulation cost more for consumers unless you're artificially increasing the price? How is making it easier for other people to cancel their subscriptions going to relate to higher costs? If you're losing business, it just means you're not doing business well enough, and that you should probably consider winning consumers back rather than, trying to hurt them more. Vice President Kamala Harris, the Democrat, let's just ignore that a little bit here because I'm not talking about politics in any way, highlighted the click-to-cancel rule last month as a policy she would pursue if elected. FTC commissioners passed final rule 3-2 vote. The agency, which initiated the rule in March, said it received more than 16,000 comments on the proposal, including from consumers, consumer advocacy groups, and trade associations. Cool. So that's all well and good. The only thing that I'm worried about is the increase of pricing of subscriptions, because subscriptions increase in price so often and so commonly that they try to sneakily get away with it by putting it in their sort of end user license agreement or whatever terms and conditions may be that people have to re-agree to in order to continue using a service that they've been using for the longest time. So what I'm wondering is, how will this affect those sorts of things? Will people be able to be notified of price increases within their subscriptions, which this doesn't seem to actually be the case. It just seems to only relate to the cancellation. But when people notice that more money is coming out, they are then more likely to cancel out of fear of being charged more than what they were intended. And then if more people leave a particular service, then the people running the service will then elect to increase the price of the service in favor of attempting to try and get those people back, because ultimately there are people who are willing to pay far more money for a particular service than people that they're losing. Because say for example, if when Microsoft increases the price of Xbox Game Pass from currently it's $20 for 20 USD for Ultimate. If they increased it to $25, they would lose some people, but the people that they would keep would make up for the shortfall in people that they're losing ultimately. So honestly, it's more of a net gain for Microsoft ultimately in the end, but that's just kind of how business looks at it, and business don't care about the people, they don't care about the customer, so there's that element to it as well. I just thought that this was actually an incredibly fascinating thing to look at, specifically because I can use Xbox Game Pass as a very solid example of this, which by the way the FTC does have a massive hard-on for regarding Microsoft's Activision acquisition, the fact that they laid off well over 1,900 people due to the Activision acquisition, and the fact that they've increased the price of Game Pass due to the acquisition of Activision, while then removing cheaper tiers of the Game Pass prior to the release of Starfield and the upcoming Call of Duty Black Ops 6, and this is probably due to, in no small part, of the Activision acquisition. I think it's fair to say that everything can kind of be blamed on this singular acquisition that ideally should never have happened to begin with, but ultimately this is kind of where we're at, the reality that we live in, and so the idea of Game Pass as well, I think I'm just really not a fan of either. But with all that being said, let me know what you guys think about all of this in the comments below. Like the video if you liked it, subscribe to the channel, share the video around with your circles that you try to visit on the internet. Again, just trying to get out of the sort of minor rut that I've got my channel is in at the moment. But with all that being said, I do upload every day, so I'll see you guys tomorrow.